How can you subtract mixed numbers? Think about this question during the lesson. A golf ball measures about 1 2/3 inches in diameter. What is the difference between the diameter of the hole and the golf ball? Let's find out. What is the diameter of a circular object?
Does anybody know the diameter? They're wanting the definition for a diameter. Grant? Oh, sorry, I thought that was you with your hand. Who's sitting behind you? Oh, Alex, sorry. That's volume, but we don't need to know the formula. We just want to know, what does diameter mean? Destiny? That's perimeter. Diameter. Nathan? Yes, when you have a circle, it's the distance across. So diameter of this hole right here is the distance across. So we're going to compare, we're going to have to subtract the diameter of the hole here, so the distance across here, and the diameter of the golf ball, the distance across for the golf ball.
It is the distance across the object from one side to its opposite side through the center of the object. What operation should you use to find the difference between the diameters of the hole and the golf ball?
The word difference lets us know what, Hope? Subtract. Sorry, I'm trying to click there.
You subtract to find the difference in diameters. What information from the picture is needed to solve the problem? You need to know that the diameter of the hole is 4 1/4 inches. What is the diameter of the ball?
It tells us 1 2/3 inches.
The diameter of the ball is 1 2/3 inches. To find the difference in the diameters, subtract. How do you subtract fractions with unlike denominators?
So just like with adding, what do? We find a common denominator.
To subtract fractions with unlike denominators, change the fractions to equivalent fractions with the least common denominator.
So 4 and 3 both go into what, Owen Chad? 12. 12 is the least common denominator. Now, they also both go into 24. Could you use 24? Absolutely. But it's going to give you another step of reducing later. That's why when you try to come up with the least common denominator, so that it saves you reducing steps.
What is the least common denominator of 1/4 and 2/3?
Owen told us 12.
12 is the least common denominator for 1/4 and 2/3. How do you write the equivalent fractions with a denominator of 12?
So 4 1/4 is going to become what new fraction? Grant Rose, what is it going to become? 4 1/4. What are we changing it to? Yes, 4 3/12. So you took 4 times 3 to get 12. So 1 times 3 gives you 3. What about 1 2/3? What's that new fraction going to be? Kyle?
1 8/12.
Yes, 3 times 4 is 12. 2 times 4 is 8.
Multiply the numerator and denominator by the same number.
Okay, now you'll notice here in this mixed number we have 4 3/12, 1 8/12. Now when we were adding, we would go ahead and use these fractions. We would add them, get that fraction, then add our whole number in the front, get that, and be done. There's a problem here. What's our problem? Chloe? Yes, Chloe.
Take 3/12 minus 8/12.
Yes, you can't take 3 minus 8. You cannot take 3/12 minus 8/12. 3 is smaller than 8. So, just like in regular subtraction, you're going to have to borrow. Yes, Kyle.
Don't you have to borrow 1 from the whole number?
Yes, it's going to show it in just a second. Hold on.
Is it possible to subtract two numbers with like denominators if the numerator of the first fraction is less than the numerator of the second fraction? Yes, because you can rename 4 and 3/12 to show more 12s. How do you rename 4 and 3/12 to show more 12s?
Okay, we are going to have to borrow. We're going to have to borrow from the whole number, which is 4. Now, what we're going to do, and they're going to show you in a second, okay? We're in 12ths, correct? So when you're borrowing 1 whole in 12ths, what is 1 whole in 12ths, Kyle? 12 twelfths. So you're not borrowing 1, okay? You're not just borrowing 1, you're borrowing 12 twelfths. So you're going to take 12 twelfths. If you're borrowing 12 of them from the 4, this is now 12 added to this 3, which is going to become 15. So you're going to have 15 twelfths and 8 twelfths. We borrowed from this 4, so it's not a 4 anymore. It's going to be a 3. Okay, so this will say 3 and 15 twelfths minus 1 and 8 twelfths.
You regroup from the whole number. When you use 1 from the whole number to make more 12ths, how do you write 1 as 12ths? You write 1 as 12 twelfths. Now, 4 and 3/12 is renamed to what mixed number? 4 and 3/12 is the same as 3 and 15/12. When you rename, does the value of the mixed number change?
Does its value change? No, no. It's still the same number of twelfths. We just wrote it in a different way.
No, the whole number is reduced by 1 and the fraction is increased by 1. How do you subtract the fractions? Subtract only the numerators and write the difference above the least common denominator. What is the next step for subtracting mixed numbers?
It's going to be subtract the whole number.
Subtract the whole numbers. Simplify if necessary.
Is simplifying necessary here, Cayenne? Why? There's not a common factor in 7 and 12. There's no number that 7 is divisible by that 12 is also divisible by. So it's in simplest form.
The difference in the diameters is 2 and 7/12 inches. Looking back, why did you not subtract the whole numbers first?
What would have happened if we subtracted the whole number first? Where would we have ran into a problem, Liz? Yeah, with the regrouping. That would have thrown us off.
You don't subtract the whole numbers first because you must start by subtracting the lesser amounts in case you have to regroup. Now that you know the answer, how can you check that the answer is reasonable? You can check that the answer is reasonable by rounding the mixed numbers and subtracting. Through this problem, you have learned how to subtract mixed numbers.
Let's do some guided practice problems. Okay, we're just going to find the difference. I personally do not like it written across like this. I'm going to write it vertically rather than horizontally, so it's easier for me to work with. 6 and 3/10 minus 1 and 4/5. What is our common denominator going to be here? 10. Alex, 10. We're not going to do anything with the top fraction because it's already in tenths. So I'm just going to rewrite it, 6 and 3/10 minus, what do I have to do to 5 to make it a 10? Multiply it by 2. What you do to the bottom, you do to the top. Do I do anything to the whole number? No. So minus 1 and 4 times 2 is 8. 5 times 2 is 10. I'm ready to subtract my fractions, but I have a problem. The problem is that I cannot take 8 from 3. 3 is smaller than 8. So this is where we're going to have to borrow. The borrowing is the hard part about this, is just to remember that. We are in tenths here. So when I borrow 1 from this 6 right here and it becomes a 5, I'm really borrowing what, Caleb?
You're really borrowing. You borrow.
You're not paying attention, and you need to be. When I'm borrowing 1 from this 6 and it becomes a 5, I'm really borrowing what, Brendan? 10, what? 10 tenths, yes. So, this 6 becomes a 5, and I'm really giving this 10 tenths, okay? So, I'm just going to write this here. You do not have to. So, that is now 5 and 13 tenths minus 1 and 8 tenths. Now I'm ready to subtract. 13 minus 8 is 5. My denominator stays the same. Remember, we don't change that. We work so hard to get it the same. 5 minus 1 is 4. Am I done? No. Why am I not done, Kyle?
Because 5/10 is also 1/2.
Yes. There is a factor that I can divide both 5 and 10 by, and that common factor is 5. When I do that, I get 4 and 1/2, which is the correct answer. Yes.
Did you simplify the whole number?
Like the 4?
Yeah.
No. That's a good question. No.
Oh, I see what I mean.
Let's do one more together. All right. 9 and 1/3. Minus 4 and 3/4. What's our least common denominator going to be, Lawson? 12. We have to take 3 times 4 to make it a 12. What we do to the bottom, we do to the top. It now just becomes 9 and 4/12. We have to take 4 times 3 to make it a 12. And so that fraction just became 4 and 9/12. We see that we cannot take 4 minus 9, so we're going to borrow. What does this fraction now become after we borrow? Brody?
12, 16, 12.
Okay, so it becomes 8, because don't forget when you borrow, don't forget to actually take that away, okay? 8, and then we borrowed 12 twelfths here. So it's like giving 12 to this 4. So 8 and 16 twelfths minus 4 and 9 twelfths. Now we can subtract. 16 minus 9 is 7. We can leave our denominator the same. 8 minus 4 is 4. Is this simplified, or can we write it down further? Corinne? It's simplified. The only thing we can divide 7 by is 7, and 7 does not go into 12, and so it's done. Very good. I want you to work this next one. Hold on, I'll give you one. Yeah, I'll give you a sticky note.